So as you're preparing for your informative speech, you're going to need to do some research. Now, unfortunately, I wouldn't recommend that you folks walk into any library out there to check out the books that I'd normally want a class to research. But thank God we have a lot of really great tools here at Cypress College that'll give you the research that you need to find. So while you're sitting at home trying to figure out how to research your informative speech, you need to remember that you need to find 4 outside sources, and they need to come from real publications. So how do we find these? Well, in our era of fake news, you can't really just trust the internet. So you might want to start engaging in some more devoted, systematic types of research. So if you go to cypresscollege.edu, the main website for us, and click on the library, you're going to get yourself into the actual library homepage. Under the library homepage, odds are you'll probably only be able to do research through articles, since it will be in the safety of your own home. If you click on the Articles tab in the library, you'll eventually have a number of different databases in which you can do effective online research. Now, inside of these databases, there are some great ones, but I would like to speak to a few of them. Most of you folks are probably familiar with Academic Search Complete or EBSCOhost. This is a powerful database that gets you lots of good results. In addition to EBSCOhost, which is probably the most popular for researching a speech, you may also look at some other points that we have. I personally have found some pretty good information from the CQ Researcher, the Congressional Quarterly Researcher, especially if you're researching something that's going through a political sphere at this point in time. You may also move down, though, and find some other really great websites and other great forms of research. These also include one of my personal favorites. If you're doing anything legal, you might want to look at Nexus Uni. This used to be LexisNexis, which was the ultimate legal search term engine. So if you're doing any speech on anything that has legal precedent, you may want to do some searches through Nexus Uni as well. And then, hopefully, God forbid, if we have to do our persuasive speech from home research, you folks may want to take a look at opposing viewpoints. They will give you the pro and con of a number of different hot button issues that are out there in today's day and age. Some of you might pick an informative topic that isn't necessarily in a bunch of scholarly journals. So you may need to research newspapers and magazines. To find these, a good search engine is ProQuest. It'll give you historical newspapers, research papers that have been coming out in the news media all over the place, and tends to be pretty good for current events if you're trying to give them out to the audience. Now, I'd like to specifically go over 3, even though you can use any database inside of the library to find the information that you need to support your speech. The first, of course, is EBSCOhost. So EBSCOhost, or Academic Search Complete, is near the top of the databases, and when you click on that, you have a number of different areas that you can look into. I highly suggest that when committing your first search, you want to click on Choose Databases first. And when you choose these databases, you can put in all the different databases that Cypress has already put themselves into. It may take a little more time to do this research, but you'll get much better results. So let's say, for example, we're looking at EBSCOhost and we want to see what's going on with the coronavirus, since it's on all of our minds right now. So you can look at this, and remember, at the first swath, you want to make sure that you have information that you can readily get on hand. So you want to make sure that you have clicked the full text tab, and you can also click the scholarly or peer-reviewed journals tab to give you the best research possible. We put a quick search into EBSCOhost, and we're going to find ourselves a number of different articles. So isolation and characterization of avian coronavirus from parrots, coronavirus in the macro domain. You'll notice that under a lot of these, they'll have a PDF or full text that you can download. So you can click on these and find out a bunch of different information. Let's look at the coronavirus envelope protein and our current knowledge of it. We click on the PDF, and instantaneously we got it as if it was right out of the journal itself. It'll download the PDF, give you all the pages. You have the option to print or download it. And what's really nice about this is it's going to give you all the information that you need to have. So we know that this has been written by David Schwoman and Bertram C. Fielding. So we know that they're coming from these different areas. It's a review of a book that they have already, and we have lots of information that's inside of here. It's inside of the virology journal, and of course we have the full text. In addition to this, you also will notice over here on the side that you can download the citation. Remember, for your speeches, you will need to have a works cited page, so you can click on the site, and it'll give you exactly how you can grab it and put it into your works cited page. So you can click on the APA link, drop that into a Microsoft Word document along with some of the other quotations that you might find within the text of the article itself, and you're good to go. Remember, when you're putting quotations inside of your speech, you always want to engage in what we call oral citations of evidence. So before the quotation, you want to tell us who the people are. So according to Showman and Fielding in their article, Coronavirus Envelope Protein, Current Knowledge, in 2019, they state that coronaviruses are envelope viruses with a positive sense single-stranded RNA genome. And you don't need to use a parenthetical citation, you just need to tell us orally where the quotation comes from, otherwise the audience will not know that you're quoting something. EBSCO hosts will probably give you all of the great research that you need for your informative and persuasive speeches, but there are some other great databases out there. Nexus is one of the best. I have been using this since the 90s, and I have gained so much knowledge through my research of Nexus Uni. So let's try coronavirus here too. Inside of Nexus Uni, they're going to give a whole bunch of different resources out here. So the news and law, so we've got 161 law reviews, we have 10,000 news articles, we have stuff that just was represented or put out even today, March 12th of 2020. So if we click on one of these articles, again, we're going to get ourselves a transcript or a wire of what's going on. Again, we can export the citation so we can get the information about it, and we can grab this in APA format to drop inside of our works cited page. And in addition to this, we have the body of the actual speech. So in these particular situations, we might pull a quote or something like that from, like, let's say Mike Pence, who's saying something along the lines of, "I don't think there was confusion. The president took another historic step, just like he did in January with China, to suspend all travel from Europe, Asia for the next 30 days because we've recognized our health experts tracking global data that the epicenter of the coronavirus has shifted from China and South Korea to Europe." Again, you want to cite this as Mike Pence as of May 12th, 2020, and give us that oral citation before the quotation that you actually put inside of your data. Nexus Uni is going to give you some great current research because it searches all the different AP news wires, magazines, and newspapers that are putting out information on a daily basis. So if you need something current, this is a great database to go to. Finally, in hopes that we won't have to be in a situation where you're researching a persuasive speech under the guise of this evil virus, you may be in a situation where you might be researching persuasive materials from opposing viewpoints. I personally love this database. This database gives you all the pros and cons of tons of different issues that are out there in the real world. So let's say, for example, we want to do a speech on capital punishment. We can look into the opposing viewpoints database, and they're going to have an entire area just on capital punishment alone. Inside of this, you'll find that you'll have different types of viewpoints: why we should end federal executions, the hidden victims of the death penalty, how to convince Americans to abolish the death penalty, and then other viewpoints: how should society punish a murderer? The death penalty might be too costly for society. And each one of these is going to link you through to a different author who's going to give you a different viewpoint essay that's going to give you argumentative types of research that you can include inside of your speech. In addition, you'll also have links to academic journals and other primary sources that you can cite inside of the text of your speech. So when it comes to persuasion, opposing viewpoints will be one of your best friends. So again, if you folks are a little bored and you're hanging out at night, you might want to spend a little time going through the databases we have here at Cypress College. They spend a lot of money getting a lot of different types of information that you can cite inside of the text of your speech, and information that comes from good and reputable sources. Remember, this is one of the key areas where I can grade you objectively. If you find 4 good research sources, that's going to get you a better grade than someone who only finds 2 or 3. Or if you're really striving for that A, you want to find more than just the 4 sources. You may want to even push yourself upwards of 5 or 6. Again, if you have any questions or concerns about how to research your informative or persuasive speech, feel free to contact me via email or through the Canvas links that we've had established beforehand.